Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So here's what Speaker Pelosi, President Biden, and Chuck Schumer are saying about our fourth stimulus check. Personally, I believe that President Biden should also send out the fourth stimulus payment before the end of the year. There are still many Americans in this country that are struggling because of the crisis. So a fourth stimulus check is definitely needed. If you guys agree with me, leave a comment down below saying I agree. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends and family. Because on this channel, I always do my very best in providing you with the most up-to-date and reliable stimulus check information. So be sure to subscribe, folks.
In terms of Social Security, Mr. President, let me be very clear. Despite what folks on TV may be saying and some politicians may be saying, let us be very clear. Social Security is not going broke.
Now Pelosi is urging moderate House Democrats to agree to a new massive budget plan. The House actually meets today in what Democratic leaders hope will be an interruption of lawmakers' August recess. They want a quick approval of a budget resolution and sets up the future passage of more legislation directing $3.5 trillion at a safety net program. In this huge measure, folks, is largely financed with tax increases on the rich and big business. Yes, everybody, President Biden does want to tax more corporations as well as the rich.
Announced it is fully concluded. It's a thorough, independent scientific review. After a strict process, the FDA has reaffirmed it's safe and effective, and the FDA has given its full and final approval. So let me say this loudly and clearly. If you're one of the millions of Americans.
He should also send out the fourth stimulus check and increase the Social Security benefits as he promised during his campaign. Do you agree with me, folks? Leave a comment down below saying yes or no. But moderate Democrats have threatened to oppose the budget resolution unless the House first approves a $1 trillion 10-year package of road, power grid, and broadband. And with unanimous Republican opposition expected to the fiscal blueprint, moderates' 9 votes would be more than enough to sink it in the narrowly divided House.
100 community health centers where the poorest of the poor can be reached. We're setting up community vaccination sites, developing mobile units to get to hard-to-reach communities. Today, 90% of Americans now live within 5 miles of a vaccination site. Everyone.
The moderates want Congress to quickly send a bipartisan infrastructure measure to Biden so he can sign it before the political winds shift, and that will nail down a victory that they can tout in the re-election campaign next year. What are your thoughts on Speaker Pelosi? Can she get the stimulus check sent out to the American people in time? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Representative Josh Gallheimer said, "The House cannot afford to wait months or do anything to risk passing the infrastructure bill."
Should you take your benefits early? That is the question. As you know, that the longer you wait to take Social Security, the more those benefits accrue, typically up to 8% per year. So there are a couple of factors which will help you to determine when to take Social Security.
And he's a leader of the 9 moderate Democrats, who have released statements reaffirming their desire that the infrastructure vote could come first. Now everybody, Nancy Pelosi set the October 1st target date for passing President Biden's infrastructure and social spending agenda. In a letter to her fellow Democrats, Nancy Pelosi also warned against delaying next week's expected vote on a $3.5 trillion budget resolution. The Senate has already passed both a $1 trillion bipartisan plan to rebuild America's roads and bridges. Folks, here's what we have to know surrounding your Social Security benefits. Social Security recipients should get a major cost of living adjustment next year, amid a steep rise in the prices of everything, from gasoline and cars. The adjustment could be as high as 5.3% in 2022. And this will be a substantial increase over the 1.3% COLA implemented for 2021, and the biggest rise in more than a decade. Now, a lot depends on how the U.S. economy performs over the next few months, and whether the Federal Reserve raises interest rates to deal with higher inflation. The 5.3% COLA for 2022 was calculated by the Senior Citizens League. The Social Security COLA for the following year is typically announced in October, that's according to Forbes, and based on the current rate of inflation. Now, an increase of 5.3% would be the biggest cost of living adjustments since 2009. Experts also noted that the overall inflation rate has risen by 5% over the last 12 months. And some people argue that these benefits increases will not be sufficient to maintain senior purchasing power. So while healthcare spending is represented by the CPIW, the percentage allocated to it may be less than an average senior citizen depends on. What are your thoughts about the Social Security increase, everybody?
Good evening, everyone. Earlier today we had the first of what will be a great many hearings and oversight proceedings to vigorously look into the intelligence that we had on Afghanistan in the years, months, weeks, and days leading up to the present. Today we had witnesses from a cross-section of the intelligence agencies come review their holdings with us, as well as talk about the existing situation, the threat to our personnel, the ability to get people out of the country, what threat remains once we do completely evacuate. And we view this, as I said during the hearing, as the beginning of vigorous oversight of what went wrong in our departure from Afghanistan. And ultimately that review will look at more than just the last couple weeks, but rather why after 20 years and our efforts to stand up a Afghan government and military force that could be self-sustaining, it ended up falling apart and so quickly. In terms of the overriding issues of what was the intelligence role, what did the intelligence agencies see, I think it's fair to say, and I can only speak at this point in general terms, that the intelligence agencies' assessments of the Afghan government's ability to maintain itself became increasingly pessimistic over the course of the last 6 months. And there were any number of warnings that the Taliban might take over, and some that included the potential of a very rapid takeover. At the same time, though, I think it's also fair to say that no one predicted such a rapid collapse, a rapid and complete collapse of the Afghan government and forces. And so we are going through the holdings. We are going to be meeting extensively with the agencies with the eye to what did we miss? To what degree are we capable as intelligence agencies